What's up? Welcome to Algebra 1, release question number 53. It says, which is the factored form of 3a squared minus 24ab plus 48b squared? And so I'm going to rewrite that down here. 3a squared minus 24ab plus, it's a b, there we go, plus 48b squared. Now, when you're factoring, when you're saying factor something, what's a factored form? Always do this first. Always check and see if there's something that's a factor of all the terms you have. This is a trinomial. It's got three different parts to it. And so can we factor something out of each piece of the trinomial? Yes, we can. We've got a 3 that could be factored out of 3, 24, and 48. So we can pull out a 3 out of everything first. Let's do that first. So when you're going to multiply that back through, whatever you'd have, this 3 times whatever this is has to get you back to where you started. So I know 3 times a squared is 3a squared. I know 3 times negative 8 would give me negative 24, and I'd have to include the ab on that if I'm going to get negative 24ab. And then finally, I would have 3 times 16, positive 16, would give me positive 48. I'd also have to include the b squared right there. Once you get to something like this where you just have a 1 or an invisible 1 in front of the a squared or x squared or whatever squared factor or term, I should say, that you have first to start, you can now factor it out into two binomials, perhaps. Looks like this one you definitely should be able to. Sometimes we'll have to use something called the quadratic formula. We'll get to that as we continue these problems here. But this one looks like will be factorable based on my answer choices up here. So I know a times a, that's the only way to get a squared. Remember, we're going to be doing FOIL, or thinking about FOIL kind of in reverse. What are the terms that need to go in here that if multiplied all together, these two binomials all together, using FOIL, would get me back to this after I combined like terms. So a nice way to do this, I call this the magic X. It's kind of magical, I think, the magic X. When I'm factoring is very helpful. If you put the 16 here, you put the last number, the last coefficient at the top, and then you put the middle coefficient at the bottom, and then you think about two numbers that multiply to this one. This right here has to be the product of the two numbers, and this number down here has to be the sum of the two numbers, the two factors that you come up with. So can you think of two numbers that multiply together to get positive 16 but add together to get negative 8? I can think of 4 and 4, but they would both have to be negative. If you multiply a negative times a negative, you get a positive. 4 times 4 would be 16. And negative 4 plus negative 4 would be, in fact, negative 8. And so we can rewrite this then as a minus 4, a minus 4. They're both the same terms. However, we've got this b squared part, so we'd have to include a b here and here. If you FOIL this back out, I'm not going to write this down, but you'd have for your first term a squared. Your outside term, the o part of FOIL, you'd have negative 4ab. Same thing for the inside part, negative 4ab. And then last you'd have positive 16b squared. If you combine together the outside and inside pieces, negative 4ab minus 4ab more, that'd give you negative 8ab, getting you back to where you started. And so we know this has to be the correct factored form. Another way to write this, you could actually write this as a minus 4b times itself, since it's the same factor again. But looking at our answer choices, this is the form they have it in, but this would be an equivalent way to write it. So number 53, though, all that said, is choice C.